My wife stood in the doorway of our bedroom, backlit by the hallway light, her phone glowing in her hand like a talisman. She'd been on it for the last hour, laughing at things I couldn't see, typing responses to people who weren't me. "My friends think you're not impressive enough for me," Haley said. Not angry, not sad, just matter of fact, like she was reading a weather report. I should aim higher. I looked up from the stack of essays I was grading. Sophomore attempts at analyzing symbolism in The Great Gatsby. Most of them thought the green light was just a light. I understood the feeling. "Then go ahead," I said. She blinked. Whatever reaction she'd been expecting, that wasn't it. "That's it? That's all you have to say?" I set down my red pen. "What do you want me to say, Haley? You've made up your mind. Your friends have made up your mind, so go ahead. Aim higher. By all means, climb that ladder. Just don't look down." She stared at me for another moment, then shook her head and walked away. I heard her in the living room, the sound of her voice dropping to a whisper as she called someone. Probably Tessa. Always Tessa. I went back to the essays, but I wasn't reading them anymore. Our apartment was nice. Not impressive, apparently, but nice. 2 bedrooms in a renovated building 3 blocks from the water in Portland, Maine. Haley had decorated it, of course. Everything was white and gray and carefully curated, the kind of place that looked better in photos than it felt to live in. My books were stacked in corners, shoved onto shelves between her scented candles and decorative objects that served no purpose except to be decorative. I'd lived here for 3 years. We'd been married for 5. I was 36, high school English teacher at Morrison Academy, a private school where parents paid too much and expected too much, and their kids learned just enough to get into decent colleges. I also wrote crime novels. Small press, modest advances, nothing that would make me quit my day job. But I had readers. People who weren't related to me bought my books and left reviews and sometimes sent emails telling me they'd stayed up all night reading. Not impressive enough. Haley was 33. She worked in social media and PR for a local events company called Coastal Collective. She was good at it, made decent money, spent more than she made, and lived for the approval of her friends. Everything was about image, the right restaurant, the right outfit, the right angle for the Instagram story. Her friends were exactly like her. Tessa, the ringleader. Then there was Brooke and Madison, interchangeable in their judgment and their highlight reels. They all had husbands or boyfriends with impressive jobs, finance, real estate. One owned a CrossFit gym. They drove nice cars and took trips to places with good lighting and posted about their lives with the kind of confidence that comes from never questioning whether anyone actually cares. I'd seen the group chat once. Haley left her iPad on the kitchen counter, open to messages. I wasn't snooping. It was just there. Tessa: "How's Evan handling the new car?" Haley: "He said it's nice. You know, teacher reaction." Brooke: "LOL, comfortable but mid." Madison: "You could pull better, Hales." Haley: "I know. I'd closed the iPad and gone back to making coffee. That was 6 months ago. Tonight, after she'd delivered her verdict about my lack of impressiveness, I sat on the edge of our bed and thought about all the things I'd planned. The ring upgrade. I'd been saving for it since January. Not because she asked, but because our 5th anniversary was coming up and I thought it would be a nice surprise. The original ring was modest. We'd been broke when we got engaged. I wanted to give her something better. The trip to Iceland. Booked for September. Northern Lights, hot springs, that blue lagoon everyone posts about. I'd paid the deposit months ago. Her birthday party. October 15th. I'd reserved a venue, a renovated warehouse space near the old port with exposed brick and string lights and a view of the harbor. Paid half up front. Invited 60 people. Planned a surprise video montage. Arranged for her favorite bakery to make a custom cake. I'd put thought into all of it. Time. Money I didn't have much of. Not impressive enough. I pulled out my phone and started making calls. First, the jeweler. Closed at this hour, but I left a voicemail canceling the order. No refund on the deposit, but I didn't care. Then the travel agency. The woman who answered sounded annoyed. I didn't blame her. It was 9:30 on a Wednesday. I canceled the Iceland trip, lost the deposit. Didn't care about that either. The venue was harder. I had to send an email and wait for a response, but I drafted it, clear and professional, canceling the reservation effective immediately. They could keep the deposit. I didn't want it back. Then I opened my laptop and started going through our shared accounts. We kept most things separate, but there were a few joint subscriptions. Her gym membership, the premium music streaming account she used constantly, the cloud storage for all her photos. I didn't cancel them outright. That would be obvious. But I changed the payment information, rerouted it to an old account I never used, one that would decline the charges when they came due next month. I pulled up my life insurance policy. Small, through the school, nothing dramatic. But she was listed as the beneficiary. I changed it to my brother, Daniel. He lived in Boston, worked in software, and would probably be confused when he got the notification. But he wouldn't ask questions. My small writing account, the one where my royalties went, had her as a secondary user. I removed her access. It wasn't much money, a few $100s a quarter, but it was mine. I did all of this quietly, methodically, no emotion, just clicks and confirmations and the faint hum of the laptop fan. When I was done, it was almost midnight. Haley was still in the living room, still on her phone. I could hear her laughing. I closed the laptop and lay back on the bed, staring at the ceiling. By all means, aim higher. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept thinking about the group chat, about the things I'd seen that one time, about the way Haley talked about me when I wasn't there. The next morning, I got up early and went for a run. Portland in August was humid and gray, the kind of weather that made everything feel sticky. I ran along the eastern promenade, past the big old houses and the people walking their dogs, down to the trail that followed the water. When I got back, Haley was in the kitchen, making coffee. She looked up when I walked in, sweaty and breathing hard. "You're up early," she said. "Couldn't sleep." She nodded, already looking back at her phone. "I'm meeting the girls for brunch. Tessa's having a crisis." "What kind of crisis?" "The usual, guy stuff." She didn't elaborate. She never did. I poured myself a glass of water and leaned against the counter. "What are you doing today?" she asked, not really asking. "Grading. Maybe write a little." "Sounds fun." It didn't sound like she thought it sounded fun. She left an hour later, dressed in something that looked effortless, but probably took 30 minutes to assemble. I watched her go, then went back to the bedroom and pulled out the iPad again. She'd left it on the nightstand, still unlocked. I opened messages, found the group chat. Tessa. "Brunch at the grill. 11? Haley. "Yes, I need mimosas and sympathy." Brooke. "What happened?" Haley. "Evan happened. I told him he's not impressive enough. He just said, 'Go ahead.'" Madison. "Wait, what? He didn't even fight?" Haley. "Nope, just sat there. It's like he doesn't even care." Tessa. "Maybe he doesn't." Haley. "That's the problem." There was more. Scrolling up, I found weeks of messages, months. They talked about everything, their jobs, their workouts, their men. I found the nickname 2 weeks back. B. Haley. "B says he's taking me to the new place on Wharf Street." Tessa. "Fancy. Does Evan know?" Haley. "Evan thinks I'm at a work thing." Brooke. "You're terrible." Haley. "I know." I kept scrolling. Found a photo. Haley and a man I didn't recognize sitting at a bar, his arm around her shoulders. She was laughing, head tilted back, phone held up for a selfie. He was good-looking in the way guys like him always are. Sharp jawline, expensive watch. The kind of smile that said he knew exactly how good-looking he was. The caption, "Not impressive enough for me? LOL." I set the iPad down. My hands were shaking. I didn't know who he was, not yet. But I knew there was someone else. And I knew Haley's birthday party, the one I'd been planning for months, was where she planned to make her move. October 15th, 6 weeks away. Fine. Let's see how impressive I can be. Before we go any further, hit the hype button, take a second to subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? I didn't confront her. That's what she'd expect. A fight, tears, accusations, the kind of messy emotional scene that would give her ammunition. Let her play the victim. Tell her friends I was controlling or jealous, or whatever narrative fit best. Instead, I went to school and taught The Crucible to a room full of juniors who didn't care about the Salem witch trials. I graded papers. I smiled at colleagues in the hallway. I ate lunch in my classroom and worked on my novel, the one my editor was waiting for, the one I couldn't seem to finish because every time I sat down to write, I thought about Haley and the man in the photo, B. At night, I watched her. Not obviously. Just the way you watch someone when you're starting to realize you don't know them at all. She went out a lot. Girls' night. Work thing. Dinner with a client. I didn't ask questions. I just noted the patterns. Tuesdays and Thursdays, she stayed late. She'd text me around 7. Don't wait up. She'd come home after 10, smelling like wine and perfume, her hair a little messy, her lipstick faded. Fridays, she met the girls. That much was true. I'd seen the Instagram stories. But she always came home with her phone clutched tight, like it was holding something she didn't want me to see. I started paying attention to the cars outside our building. We had street parking, and it was usually the same rotation of neighbors' vehicles. But twice in 1 week, I saw a black Audi Q5 idling at the corner when Haley left for work in the morning. It didn't belong to anyone on our block. The third time I saw it, I took a photo of the license plate. I also started noticing small changes in the apartment. A second toothbrush in the travel bag she kept under the bathroom sink. I'd seen it when I was looking for floss. It wasn't mine. It wasn't new either. The bristles were worn. Then there was the perfume. Haley wore the same scent every day, something light and floral. But sometimes, when she came home late, I'd catch a different smell on her clothes. Sharper, masculine, cologne. I didn't say anything. Instead, I did what I do best. I investigated. On Saturday morning, while Haley was at yoga, I opened the iPad again. She'd changed her passcode after I'd looked at it that first time, but I'd watched her type it in once while she was distracted. Muscle memory is a funny thing. The group chat was still active. Always active. Tessa. Can't believe you're really doing this. Haley. I have to. I can't keep living like this. Madison. But at your birthday party? In front of everyone? Haley. It's the perfect time. Clean break, new chapter, and honestly, Evan won't even care. He barely notices me anymore. Brooke. What did B say? Haley. He's all in. He's going to be there. We're going to make it official. Tessa. This is insane. I love it. I took screenshots, saved them to a cloud account Haley didn't have access to. Then I kept reading. There were messages about the birthday party, the new venue they'd booked without telling me, the guest list I wasn't part of making, the speech Haley had been practicing. Haley. I'm going to talk about growth, about finding who you're meant to be with, and then B is going to step up and we're going to announce it. Tessa. What about Evan? Haley. What about him? He'll take it like a champ. He always does. I closed the iPad, sat there on the couch, staring at the wall. She thought I wouldn't care, that I'd just sit there and take it, like I'd taken everything else. The dismissive comments, the condescension, the nights she came home smelling like someone else. Fine. Let her think that. I spent the rest of the weekend digging, not hacking. I'm not a hacker. But I didn't need to be. Haley had been careless. She'd logged into her email on the desktop computer in the second bedroom, the one we used as an office. She never logged out. I opened it and started scrolling. Most of it was work stuff, event planning, client emails, promotional campaigns. But buried in there were messages from him, Brandon Cole, subject lines like, Can't stop thinking about you and when can I see you again? I opened one. It was exactly what I expected. Flattery, promises, a photo of him leaning against a car, smiling at the camera like he'd just won something. Brandon Cole. I copied the name into a search engine. It didn't take long to find him. He had an Instagram account, public, full of carefully curated photos. The car, the watch, the gym selfies, the inspirational quotes about success and ambition. His bio, Regional Manager, Pinnacle Auto Group, living my best life. Pinnacle Auto Group. I knew the place. Big dealership on the edge of town, the kind that sold luxury cars to people who wanted everyone to know they could afford luxury cars. I clicked through his photos. Found one of him and Haley at a restaurant, posted 3 weeks ago. She was tagged. The caption, "Good company, better wine." The comments were full of fire emojis and compliments. Haley had liked it. So had Tessa. I kept digging. Brandon's Facebook was less curated, more personal. Photos of him at work events, posing with cars, shaking hands with customers. One photo showed him at a bar I recognized, a place called The Lantern near the Old Port. He was with a group of people, all of them holding drinks, all of them laughing. The date on the photo was a Thursday, 2 weeks ago. Haley had told me she was working late that night. I saved everything, screenshots, links, dates, built a timeline in a private document on my laptop. Then I started looking for vulnerabilities. Brandon loved Instagram, posted constantly, stories, reels, photos of his car, a silver BMW M4 that he treated like a child. He was always tagging the dealership, always promoting himself, always performing. Haley was the same. Everything was content, every meal, every outfit, every moment carefully framed to look spontaneous. They lived for approval, for likes, for the appearance of success. Good, because I was going to take all of that away. By Sunday night, I had a plan, not complete, not detailed, but the shape of it was there. Step 1, let them think they'd won. Let Haley believe I didn't care. Let Brandon think he'd stolen her without consequences. Step 2, document everything, every lie, every secret, every moment they thought was private. Step 3, wait. The birthday party was 6 weeks away. That was my deadline. That was when Haley wanted to humiliate me, replace me, move on to something better. Fine. Let's see how that works out for her. On Monday, I went to school and taught Macbeth. The kids were more engaged than usual, probably because the play is full of murder and betrayal and ambition gone wrong. One of them, a sharp kid named Riley, raised her hand during the discussion. "Mr. Mercer, do you think Macbeth ever regretted it?" "What do you think?" I asked. She frowned. "I think he regretted getting caught, not the murder itself." "That's a good answer," I said. "Regret isn't the same as remorse. Macbeth regrets the consequences, not the actions." Another kid, Jason, piped up. "So he's just a bad person? Or a person who made bad choices and couldn't stop," I said. "The play doesn't really care which. It just shows you what happens when you let ambition override everything else." The bell rang. They filed out, already forgetting the lesson. But I didn't forget. That night, I saw the Audi again. It was parked at the end of our street, engine running, headlights off. I watched from the window as Haley came out of the building, her coat pulled tight against the September cold. She walked to the car. The passenger door opened. She got in. They didn't drive away immediately. I could see their silhouettes through the windshield, talking, laughing. Then his hand reached over, touched her face. I stepped back from the window. Fine. Haley showed up at the apartment on Tuesday morning. I'd just gotten out of the shower when I heard the key in the lock. She still had her key. I hadn't thought to ask for it back. She walked in, and we stared at each other across the living room. She looked terrible. Hair unwashed. No makeup. She was wearing the same clothes I'd seen in one of Tessa's Instagram stories from the party. The black dress, now rumpled and stained. "Hi," she said. "Hi. Can we talk?" "You're here. Talk." She flinched at my tone, sat down on the couch. I stayed standing. I know you did it, she said. Did what? The slideshow. At the party. It was you. Was it? Don't play games, Evan. I know it was you. I shrugged. Okay, it was me. She closed her eyes. Why? You know why. To humiliate me? No. To show people the truth. That's the same thing. Is it? She stood up, pacing. You destroyed me, Evan. My family won't talk to me. My friends think I'm a monster. Brandon's boss fired him. He got fired? This morning. Because of you. Because of that slideshow and the scene at the party and everything that came after. I felt a cold satisfaction settle in my chest. Good. Good? That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say, Haley? That I'm sorry? I'm not. You made your choices. You cheated on me. You planned to humiliate me in front of everyone. You told your friends I wasn't impressive enough, so I showed you what impressive looks like. She sat back down, her face in her hands. I didn't mean for it to go like this. How did you think it would go? I don't know. I thought you'd just accept it. Move on. You thought I'd roll over. Let you trade me in for someone shinier. That's exactly what you thought. She looked up at me, her eyes red. I made a mistake, okay? I know that now. He was a mistake. You think? He said he loved me. He said we'd be together. And then at the party, after the slideshow, after everything fell apart, he said I was just temporary, that I was nothing. I know, I heard. Her eyes widened. How? Tessa sent me the recording. Tessa? She was there, she heard everything, and she sent it to me. Haley's face crumpled. She was my best friend. She was your accomplice. Evan, please, I know I screwed up, I know I hurt you, but we can fix this. No. What? We can't fix this. It's over. But, Haley, stop. You don't love me. You haven't loved me in a long time. Maybe you never did, and I don't love you anymore either. Don't say that. It's true. You made sure of that. She started crying. Big, choking sobs. I have nothing left. My family hates me. My friends won't talk to me. I lost my job. You lost your job. They fired me yesterday. Said I was bringing too much drama into the workplace. Said I was a liability. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're right. I'm not. She stood up, shaking. You're a monster. Maybe, but I'm a monster you created. What does that mean? It means you looked at me and decided I wasn't enough. You decided to throw me away. And when I didn't go quietly, when I fought back, you called me a monster. But all I did was show people the truth. That's not monstrous. That's just honest. You're insane. Maybe. But at least I'm not a liar. She stared at me, fury and desperation, and something else in her eyes. Then she grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Wait, I said. She turned. Leave your key. She pulled it off her keychain, threw it at me. It clattered on the floor. I hope you're happy, she said. I'm not, but I'm free. She left, slammed the door so hard the walls shook. I picked up the key, put it in a drawer. Then I sat down on the couch and stared at the wall. It wasn't over yet. That afternoon, I went to the storage unit, pulled out the rest of my things, my books, my clothes, the manuscript of the novel I'd been working on for 2 years. I loaded it all into my car and drove to my brother's place in Boston. Daniel lived in a 1-bedroom apartment in Somerville. He opened the door and stared at me. What are you doing here? Can I stay for a few days? Yeah, of course. What happened? Long story. He helped me carry the boxes inside, made coffee, sat me down at his kitchen table. Okay, he said. Talk. I told him everything. The affair, the birthday party, the slideshow, the confrontation with Brandon, Haley's visit this morning. He listened without interrupting. When I was done, he leaned back and whistled. Jesus, Evan. Yeah. You really did all that? Yeah. Are you okay? I don't know. He poured me more coffee. What are you going to do now? I don't know that either. You can stay here as long as you need, but you need to figure out what's next. I know. Do you have a lawyer? Not yet. Get one. If Haley tries to come after you for the slideshow or the stuff with Brandon's car, she won't. How do you know? Because she's too embarrassed, and because I have the recording. The one of Brandon? Yeah. If she tries anything, I'll make it public. She knows that. Daniel nodded. You're playing a dangerous game, man. I know. What about school? I'll go back next week. I just needed a few days. And the book? I'll finish it, eventually. He looked at me for a long time. You sure you're okay? No, but I will be. That night I slept on his couch, stared at the ceiling, thought about Haley and Brandon and everything that had happened. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel vindicated. I just felt tired, but I wasn't done yet. On Saturday, I drove back to Portland. I'd spent the week in Boston, lying low, letting things settle. Daniel had been good about it. Didn't push, didn't ask too many questions. Just let me exist in his space while I figured out what came next. What came next was this. One more move, one final piece. I needed to see Haley, not to talk, not to reconcile, but to make sure she understood what she'd lost. I'd arranged it carefully, sent her a text on Friday night. I'm coming to get the rest of my things tomorrow. Be there at noon. She replied immediately. Okay. I arrived at the apartment at 11:30. Early. I wanted to see her off balance, but when I pulled up to the building, there was a moving truck parked outside. I frowned, got out of the car, walked to the entrance. The door to our apartment was propped open. Inside, two guys in matching t-shirts were carrying boxes down the stairs. I stepped inside. Haley was in the living room, directing them. She saw me and froze. What's going on? I asked. I'm moving, she said. Where? My parents' place. Temporarily. Until I figure things out. I looked around. The apartment was half empty. The couch was still there, but the side tables were gone. The bookshelf was gone. Her decorations, her candles, her carefully curated life, all packed into boxes. When were you going to tell me? I asked. I just decided yesterday. Convenient. Don't start, Evan. I walked past her into the bedroom. It was mostly empty, too. The bed was still there, but her nightstand was gone. The closet doors were open, showing empty hangers. I opened the closet on my side. My clothes were still there, my shoes, my books, still stacked in the corner where I'd left them. I didn't touch your stuff, Haley said from the doorway. I can see that. You can take whatever you want. I will. One of the movers came up behind her. Ma'am, where do you want this box? She turned, distracted. Downstairs, with the others. I went to the desk in the corner, opened the drawers, found the folder I'd been looking for. Documents, receipts, proof of everything I'd paid for in this apartment. The deposit, the furniture, the kitchen appliances. I took the folder. Then I went back to the living room. Haley was still directing the movers. I stood in the doorway and watched. You're really doing this? I said. She turned. What choice do I have? You could stay. And what? Wait for you to humiliate me again? I'm not trying to humiliate you, Haley. I'm just trying to move on. By taking everything? I'm not taking everything. I'm taking what's mine. She laughed, bitter. What's yours? Right, because you paid for it all, didn't you? You and your teacher's salary and your little book deal. You're so proud of that. I'm not proud. I'm just done pretending you contributed anything to this relationship besides complaints. Her face twisted. You really are a monster. You keep saying that. I don't think you know what it means. The movers came back, took the couch. Haley watched them go, her arms crossed, her face pale. I'm leaving, she said. I don't want to see you again. Fine. I mean it, Evan. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't show up at my parents' house. I won't. Good. She grabbed her purse, walked toward the door, then she stopped, turned back. Do you even feel bad? She asked. About any of this? Do you? She didn't answer. Just left. I stood in the empty apartment for a long time. Then I started packing. I took my books, my clothes, the desk, the kitchen table I'd bought before we got married, the coffee maker, the good knives, the cast iron skillet. I made 3 trips to my car, loaded everything into the trunk and the back seat. On the last trip, I stood in the doorway and looked at the empty space. It didn't feel like home anymore. Maybe it never had. I locked the door, left the key on the kitchen counter. Then I drove to the dealership. It was late afternoon. The lot was busy. Families looking at SUVs, salespeople hovering, the hum of commerce and aspiration. I parked across the street and watched. Brandon's BMW wasn't there. But I wasn't looking for the car. I was looking for him. I found him near the service entrance talking to a man in a suit. His boss, maybe. Or his former boss. Hard to tell. The conversation looked tense. Brandon was gesturing, defensive. The other man was shaking his head. Then the man walked away. Brandon stood there alone, his hands in his pockets. I got out of the car, crossed the street, walked straight up to him. He saw me coming. His face went hard. What do you want? He said. To talk. We have nothing to talk about. I think we do. I'm not afraid of you, Evan. I know. But you should be. He laughed. You think you're tough? You think vandalizing my car and sending that recording makes you some kind of hero? I don't think I'm a hero. I think I'm the guy who won. Won what? Everything. Haley's gone, your job's gone, your reputation's gone, and I'm still here. He took a step closer. You want me to hit you? Is that it? You want to play the victim? No. I want you to know that this isn't over. The hell it isn't. I still have the recording, and I still have screenshots, and I still have witnesses who saw what you did at the party. If you ever come near me again, or near Haley, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly who you are. You're blackmailing me. I'm protecting myself. You're insane. Maybe, but I'm insane with leverage. He stared at me. I could see the calculation in his eyes again, the fear, the anger. Get out of here, he said. Gladly. I walked back to my car. Didn't look back. When I got in, I checked my phone. A text from Daniel. You coming back tonight? I replied, yeah, be there in 2 hours. Then I started the engine and drove out of Portland. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel relieved. I just felt done. I went back to work on Monday. Morrison Academy looked the same as always. Red brick, green lawns, kids in uniforms wandering between buildings like they had nowhere important to be. I parked in the faculty lot and walked to my classroom. A few teachers nodded at me in the hallway. No one said anything about the party. Either they hadn't heard, or they were too polite to mention it. My first class was sophomore English. We were finishing The Crucible. The kids filed in, chatting and checking their phones until the bell rang. All right, I said. Let's talk about consequences. They looked up. In the play, I continued, everyone lies. Abigail lies about the witchcraft. Proctor lies about his affair. The judges lie about their motives, and all of those lies have consequences. Some people die. Some people lose everything. Some people get exactly what they wanted and still end up miserable. A kid in the back raised his hand. Mr. Mercer, do you think any of them regret it? Good question. What do you think? I think Proctor does. At the end, when he tears up the confession. That's regret, right? Maybe. Or maybe it's just him finally being honest. The kid nodded, wrote something down. Another student, a girl named Emma, raised her hand. What about Abigail? Does she regret it? I don't think so. She gets what she wants. She destroys Elizabeth Proctor's reputation. She has power, and then she runs away. People like that don't regret. They just move on to the next thing. That's kind of depressing, Emma said. Yeah, it is. We spent the rest of the class discussing the ending. Whether Proctor's decision was noble or selfish, whether the judges knew they were condemning innocent people, whether any of it could have been avoided. When the bell rang, the kids filed out. Emma lingered by my desk. Mr. Mercer? Yeah? Are you okay? You seem different. I'm fine, just tired. Okay, well, if you need to talk or anything. Thanks, Emma. She left. I sat at my desk and stared at the empty classroom. Different. Yeah, I guess I was. At lunch, I ate in my classroom like always, graded papers, answered emails, tried not to think about Haley or Brandon or the empty apartment. But my phone buzzed, a text from Tessa. Can we talk? I stared at it for a long time. Then I replied, Why? Because I need to tell you something. About Haley. What about her? Not over text, can we meet? I didn't want to, but curiosity got the better of me. Fine. Coffee shop on Exchange, 5 o'clock. Okay, thank you. I put the phone away and went back to grading. That afternoon, I taught AP English. We were reading Beloved. Heavy material. The kids were quiet, thoughtful. We talked about trauma and memory and whether it's possible to escape the past. One student, a sharp kid named Marcus, said, I don't think you can escape it. You just learn to live with it. That's a good answer, I said. But what if the past keeps repeating? What if you keep making the same mistakes? Then you're stuck, Marcus said, unless you change something, unless you break the cycle. And how do you do that? He shrugged. I don't know. Maybe you just have to be willing to let go. After class, I drove to the coffee shop. Tessa was already there. She looked better than she had the last time I saw her. Hair done, makeup on, but there was still something fragile about her. I sat down across from her. Hi, she said. Hi. What do you want, Tessa? I wanted to tell you something about Haley. I'm listening. She's not doing well. She's staying with her parents, but they're barely speaking to her. She lost her job. Her friends won't talk to her. She's falling apart. And you're telling me this because? Because I thought you should know. Why? So I'll feel bad? No. So you'll understand. Understand what? That she's sorry. She knows she messed up. She knows she hurt you. And she's paying for it. Good. Tessa flinched. You really don't care, do you? I cared, for a long time, but she made it very clear that I wasn't enough for her, so now she's dealing with the consequences of that choice. She loved you, Evan. No, she didn't. She loved the idea of me, the stable guy, the safe choice, but she never loved me. Tessa looked down at her coffee. Maybe you're right. Why are you really here, Tessa? She hesitated. Because I feel guilty. I knew about the affair. I knew about the plan. And I didn't stop it. I didn't even warn you. No, you didn't. I'm sorry. Are you? Or are you just sorry you got caught in the middle? She didn't answer. I stood up. Thanks for the update, but I don't need to hear about Haley anymore. We're done. Evan, wait. I walked out. I didn't look back. That night, I sat in Daniel's apartment and worked on my novel. The one I'd been putting off for months. The one about a man who discovers his wife is cheating and decides to methodically destroy her life. It used to feel like fiction. Now it felt like memoir. I wrote for 3 hours, got lost in the story, forgot about Haley and Brandon and everything else. When I finally stopped, it was past midnight. Daniel was asleep on the couch, the TV still on. I saved the file, closed the laptop. Tomorrow, I'd go back to Portland. I'd finish packing. I'd sign the papers my lawyer had prepared. I'd move on. But tonight, I just sat there in the dark and let myself feel everything I'd been pushing down for weeks. The anger, the hurt, the satisfaction, and underneath it all, the exhaustion. I went back to Portland one last time on Thursday, not to the apartment. That was done. The lease was in both our names, but I'd told the landlord I was moving out. Let Haley figure out what to do with it. Instead, I went to the dealership. It was late afternoon. The lot was quieter than the last time I'd been there. A few customers browsing, salespeople standing around looking bored. Brandon's BMW was parked near the back, still covered in dried orange paint and glitter. No one had cleaned it yet. I smiled. I parked across the street and waited. He came out an hour later, alone. He looked rough, tired. His shirt was wrinkled. His hair wasn't styled. He saw his car and stopped, stared at it. Then he pulled out his phone and made a call. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I could see his face. Anger, frustration, desperation. He hung up, looked around. Then he got in the car and started the engine. I followed him. Not close, just close enough to keep him in sight. He drove to his townhouse, pulled into the driveway, got out and slammed the door. I parked down the street and watched. He stood in front of his car, staring at it. Then he pulled out his phone again, scrolled through something. His face went pale. I'd sent the recording to him an hour ago. Not the full version, just a clip. 30 seconds of him at the party, drunk and cruel, saying Haley was temporary. The message I'd sent with it. 1 week, then everyone hears this. He looked around like he was searching for me. Then he went inside. I waited. 5 minutes later, he came back out. This time, he wasn't alone. Haley was with him. I felt my chest tighten. They were arguing. I could see it even from a distance. Her gestures sharp and frantic, his face hard and defensive. Then she slapped him. Not hard, not the way I'd slapped him at the bar, but enough to make him step back. He grabbed her wrist, said something. She yanked her arm away and walked toward the street. I started the engine. She was walking fast, head down, arms wrapped around herself. She didn't see me, didn't see the car. I pulled up beside her, rolled down the window. "Get in," I said. She looked up. Her face was streaked with tears. "Evan, get in." She hesitated. Then she opened the door and got in. I drove. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Away from here." She didn't argue, just sat there, staring out the window. I drove to the eastern promenade, parked facing the water, cut the engine. We sat in silence for a long time. "Why did you come back?" she asked finally. "To finish this." "Finish what?" "Making sure you understand." "Understand what?" "That this is over, that we're over, that you don't get to come back." She turned to look at me. I wasn't trying to come back. "Then what were you doing at his place?" "Telling him to leave me alone. He won't stop texting me, calling me, showing up at my parents' house. He thinks we can still fix this." "Can you?" She laughed, hollow. "Fix what? He used me. You exposed him. And now we're both just wreckage." "Sounds about right." She wiped her eyes. "You really hate me, don't you?" "No, I don't hate you, Haley. I just don't care anymore." "That's worse. Maybe." She stared out at the water. "What happens now?" "You move on. I move on. We sign the papers. We never see each other again." "And Brandon?" "He'll leave, or he won't. Either way, he's not my problem." "You're going to send that recording, aren't you?" "If he doesn't leave, yeah. That's cruel. So was what you did to me." She didn't have an answer for that. We sat there for another minute. Then she opened the door. "Goodbye, Evan." "Goodbye, Haley." She got out, walked toward the path that led down to the water. I watched her go, a small figure against the gray sky. Then I started the engine and drove back to Brandon's townhouse. He was outside, standing next to his car. When he saw me pull up, his face twisted. "What the hell do you want?" he shouted. I got out of the car, walked toward him. "I want you to know something," I said. "I don't care what you want." "You should." He took a step forward. You think you've won? You think ruining my car and my job and my life makes you some kind of hero? No, it makes me even. Even? You're insane. Maybe, but I'm the one still standing. You're pathetic. And you're done. I pulled out my phone, opened the recording, hit send. What are you doing? He said. Keeping my promise. The recording went out to 50 contacts. His friends, his co-workers, his family, everyone on his Instagram who'd ever commented on one of his posts. His phone started buzzing. Once, twice, 10 times, 20. He stared at it, then at me. You son of a... He swung. I dodged. He stumbled. I didn't hit him back. Didn't need to. You're done, Brandon, I said. You're done here. Done with Haley. Done with this town. Done pretending you're something you're not. He lunged again. This time I didn't move fast enough. His fist connected with my jaw. Pain exploded through my face. I stumbled back. He came at me again, but he was sloppy, angry. I sidestepped, and he crashed into his car. I grabbed him by the collar, slammed him against the hood. Listen to me, I said. If you ever come near me again, or near Haley, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly who you are. Not just in Portland, everywhere. I'll post that recording on every platform. I'll send it to every dealership in the state. I'll make sure you never work in this industry again. He was breathing hard, his face red. You can't, I can, and I will. I let him go. He slumped against the car. I walked back to mine, got in, started the engine. As I pulled away, I looked in the rearview mirror. He was still standing there, staring at his phone. I drove back to Boston. Didn't stop. Didn't look back. When I got to Daniel's apartment, it was past midnight. He was still awake, reading on the couch. You okay? He asked. Yeah. Your face is bleeding. I touched my jaw. My hand came away red. Brandon got one in. Jesus, Evan. It's fine. No, it's not. Sit down. Let me get you some ice. I sat. Let him fuss. Let him clean the cut and press a bag of frozen peas against my jaw. Is it over? He asked. Yeah, it's over. Good. Because you look like hell. I laughed. It hurt, but I laughed. Thanks, I said. For what? For letting me crash here. For not asking too many questions. You're my brother, of course. I nodded. Closed my eyes. Let the exhaustion take over. Later, lying on the couch, I pulled out my phone, checked the messages. 50 responses, most of them from people I didn't know. Brandon's friends, his co-workers, people who'd heard the recording and had opinions. I deleted them all. Then I opened my laptop and worked on my novel. The final chapter. The one where the protagonist walks away from the wreckage he's created and starts over. I wrote until dawn, until my hands were cramping and my eyes were blurring. And when I was done, I saved the file, leaned back, stared at the screen. It was finished. The book, the revenge, all of it. I closed the laptop. Outside, the sun was rising. The city was waking up. And somewhere, in Portland, Haley and Brandon were picking up the pieces of their lives. But I wasn't there to see it. I was here, free, and that was impressive enough for me.